Hello friends, welcome. I'm Commissar Mark and today we are going to be making a video about C3 Augustus and a specific feature which is entertainment and how do different services affect housing in question. There is something to be said about C3 Augustus where providing access, entertainment and also desirability will boost house sentiment, which is calculated on house-by-house basis, meaning that houses that get access to extra entertainment, which is surplus to what they require for the evolution stage, same with desirability, will make them less prone to spawn criminals or, let the city be affected by bad events such as thefts, looting, etc. Regarding the sentiment, of course. So there is always like providing access entertainment is usually good, especially since it's a service. It does not require production of any resources apart from one specific structure, which is a tavern, and we'll explain that. I actually covered it not too long ago, but we should do it today as well. And so just providing extra services usually isn't a huge deal. Keep in mind that some of the new structures like the arena actually cost 500 resources, so that can be substantial. But something like Grand Temple to Venus is usually a very powerful Grand Temple to build on any given map, just because it's so good, because it boosts desirability as well as entertainment with its second epithet. It will make it so that housing is rock solid and does not devolve easily and is even, willing to put up with being taxed without issues, because in Augustus sentiment can be a big problem where people also are jealous, and so if you have a block which is evolved higher than the rest of the city, the other people will get jealous and get mad even if they are not getting taxed, which is not the case in Julius, but regardless, sentiment is another video which I'm gonna be making. That's a very complex topic. For today's video, it's gonna be, as I said, about entertainment. And so first we need to take a look at what evolution levels of houses require which entertainment value. Okay, so entertainment can it goes from 0 and it goes up, and I don't think it's capped at like 100. It can probably exceed it, but I'm not sure about that. I would have to ask the devs. However, it is known what values are required for each house, and then we can take a look at what sources of entertainment are there, again what providers give. Okay, so small casa and large casa both require only 10 entertainment value. If you want to evolve large casa to small insula, you need to jump up to by 15 to 25. Medium insula and large insula also only require 25. Then it goes up. When you want the Grand Insula, they need 35, but that's still relatively modest as a requirement, I would say. And then if you want Villa, that's also 35. Their requirements are for the evolutions themselves are a little bit different. I'm gonna put a chart up that's gonna show also service and food requirements. This is a chart by Eraserhead. It will kind of let you visualize what I'm talking about here. So yes, Grand Insula, small villa 35, entertainment required, and then medium villa is 40, large villa is 45, grand villa is 50, small palace is 55, medium palace is 60, and large palace is 70, so now it jumps by 10. And luxury palace is 80. So the biggest jump there is in the whole game basically is from large casa to small insula. But then after that, it's a small increments, usually, the entertainment, until it goes by tens in from medium palace to large palace and then luxury palace, okay? Now, with those numbers, we need some context to know how could we provide this. So let's have a hypothetical scenario where a block is given all the resources and all the food it requires, and we only care about entertainment we provide to the block itself. And if you want to bring it up to a certain level of evolution, what would we need as a combination of things, right? So I'm gonna now tell you the numbers for what different sources of entertainment provide. So if you give them a theater, The Volker will provide housing that it's passed by the Volker from the theater with plus 10 points of entertainment, meaning that just with the theater, the block itself is good to evolve up to large castle. Note, I do not believe that theater actually benefits from actors' colony benefits, like other entertainment structures such as an arena or an amphitheater benefit from having a gladiator school in the city, and it increases the quality of the entertainment. However, with the theater, I don't actually believe the actors' colony does anything. It's just an extra destination walker that goes towards the theater, yes. But for the flat out value, I don't actually believe it improves the quality of the shows. And so it's still 10, even with an actors' colony. Then we have amphitheater, which basic value of it is 10. And so if we see that if we would have a theater and an amphitheater, our block would be at large casa, which only requires 10. We would want to evolve this to small insula. We still miss those 5 crucial points, right? So yes, amphitheater is 10 basic value, so we would be at 20, but we could also give it both shows. If it only receives one, it does not impact its value, apparently. Amphitheater only gets up to plus 15 when it gets both shows, meaning it needs an actor's colony as well as gladiator school. When it happens, the amphitheater jumps up to 15, meaning that plus 10 from the theater will leave us with 25 exactly, and that would technically allow us to evolve to small insula as well as medium and even large insula, because those require the entertainment values as discussed before, right? So that would be pretty simple. Entertainment basically, like all the insula stages are relatively simple to get. You only really need to exceed it later for Grand Insula. Something to be said about the evolution stages. So I'm not sure if this is the correct video to cover this, but we might as well, since we are talking evolutions anyway. There are certain stages of evolution in the game that are considered the worst, and that is because they require extra goods, but they don't actually give you any tax bonus. The only housing that really increases the tax bonus is small insula and grand insula, and then patricians are themselves a little bit different. But for plebs, you really want to aim, like staying at large casa, you are basically paying potere constantly, but you could just, get much more tax if you just gave them that little entertainment, because that's all the small insula wants as opposed to large casa. So staying on large casa is actually really bad. And yes, each stage only gives you like plus 4 population capacity for a 2x2 house. Therefore, just evolving them for those 4 little extra slots for giving them new good type is usually not worth it. But small insula, and then from small insula onwards, like medium insula obviously gets the same benefit of the tax as small, so it does large. But if you want to boost it even further, then going with Grand Insula will give you another tax boost. That's why they are so good, but also hard to get, as they require 2 food types and of course more goods. Okay, so if we have this hypothetical scenario we ended up with, where we got to large insula with 25 entertainment required, and we provide this with one theater, which is plus 10, and then an amphitheater, which is plus 10 and plus 5 extra if it has both shows. So we exactly have 25. If we wanted to evolve to Grand Insula, needing 35 entertainment value, we could use variety of different entertainment options. There are usually on custom maps, you will often be restricted in what you can access, because there's potentially I think like 5 ways to evolve, maybe even slightly more if you factor in monuments, to evolve the housing to this level with combination of different services, right? Because Arena and the Tavern are just straight up additions by the Augustus mod, and also the monument bonuses are plus 5 global bonus for the whole city, regardless of local coverage, if your city builds a hippodrome or a coliseum. Therefore, if we had a hippodrome and coliseum in the city, now we wouldn't even have to provide extra walkers to that block. We want to evolve from 25 to 35 entertainment value, because it would get plus 5 from coliseum and plus 5 from the hippodrome to bring us to 35, which is the requirement. Alternatively, Venus epithet 2 will grant the housing that's passed by Venus priest plus 10 entertainment bonus, which is really good, as you might imagine. That would allow that evolution. As I mentioned before, it also helps with solidifying the block's sentiment because extra entertainment is good. So those are two extra ways we could do it, or we could do walkers in the blocks are themselves, right? So an arena is like an amphitheater, basically. It's a 3x3 structure. As I mentioned, it costs 500 denarii. The thing about the arena is that its base value is also 10, so is it for amphitheater and a theater. So technically, if we have amphitheater with both shows, we've got a theater, and then we give them an arena, we would be at 35 as well. We wouldn't even have to give them lion pit. But if there is a lion pit and a gladiator school that can send walkers, destination walkers, to the arena, then the arena would give you plus 20, which is a quite big bonus. And so arenas can be really powerful if you have access to them and their associated services. Pretty good. Now, something to mention is, I did mention how this works with destination walkers and the schools. I mentioned schools is gladiator school, actress colony, and lion pit. These are the entertainment providers. Okay, so like the entertainment schools, and then providers or sources of entertainment are actually within the blocks themselves, where you let roaming walkers distribute the entertainment as they walk past houses. Okay, and there's a cooldown between the actions, so you know, again, with block design you can alter how this works. You preferably don't want to make the blocks too large so that only one service can cover them without issues, which I mentioned in several videos previously. I'm not gonna go into too much detail here, but suffice to say, there are multiple ways you can do this with what kind of sources of entertainment to provide to your block. So if we did not want to have an arena, we could also have, if there is such a case where you've built a coliseum in your city and you give it direct access from its walker to a block, which again, I normally would just put the coliseum somewhere random. I would not necessarily want to have it in my blocks unless it's a patrician block, because patricians require a lot of entertainment. So if it's a coliseum providing access with walker, it will give it basic value of plus 15, which is quite good, especially if you again want to evolve to these high patrician levels. And if you give it both shows, meaning gladiators as well as lions, you will actually get 25. And that's how that works. So again, that could be very powerful for keeping patricians happy. With a hippodrome, it gives direct access through its walker of 30 value of entertainment, which is massive. That's the biggest provider of entertainment in the whole game. Makes sense. It's the largest monument, the most expensive monument, so it makes sense. It also gives plus 5 global entertainment, so does Colosseum, as I mentioned before. And so these are the sources of entertainment. Sorry, I didn't cover the tavern yet. I talked about it in the most recent video. Let's just quickly cover it. So, what is a tavern? Why is it different? Tavern is a different entertainment providing structure because it consumes goods for spawning walkers that then distribute the entertainment of it. It requires wine to operate. If it doesn't have wine, it cannot function. But if it has fish or meat allowed to also get, then it will boost its entertainment providing capabilities. I will explain the numbers in a little bit. You can see it on the screen probably because I'm not sure if I can split the chart too well. But yes, so how does this work is the tavern is like a market because it has two kinds of walkers. One of them is a roaming walker, which is going to distribute the service, the entertainment to the houses themselves in the block by just walking along the path and then returning to the building where it came from, despawning, and then the cycle repeats. The other walker is a getting walker. It will go and on the same road layout as a market lady that's gonna get food from a granary. This market lady will have to have access to a granary that accepts fish. It will not get fish from a warehouse, or meat or fish. These two things are different now. I guess it's split. These are two different resources. You can potentially have fish and meat on the same map. If you allow it, for the tavern, you can right click it as a market, allow its consumption. The granary needs to have market ladies enabled for access, and then after you do that and it's within the same road layout, the tavern will send a destination walker to get that food, meaning it will go through roadblocks or gatehouses to get it, but it will not go off-road. And so it will collect the fish or meat and bring it back. It also does the same with wine from warehouses where market ladies are allowed to go within the same road layout. And so that's how it gets the wine, that's how it gets the meat. When it deposits the meat into the tavern itself, it then takes a very slight cost in those resources. It consumes a little bit of wine and fish or meat if it's available to it. And this is a price it pays to spawn that roaming walker for distributing that service. So the tavern does not necessarily work as a market in a way that the houses it would pass by would get the wine and the meat. No, because obviously that would be a problem, since you often want to restrict the wine access to your plebeians so they don't evolve into small patrician housing. And so again, the walker takes resources to spawn from the tavern. In this case it's wine, and additionally if there's meat or fish allowed, it will also consume a little bit of that. I'll put the number on the screen, I did cover that in the last video, I think. And so when that happens, again, walker is spawned, it provides the entertainment, then it comes back and despawns. And so the larger the block, the bigger benefit you get from it. The consumption rate is not affected by how many houses it passes. It could pay the same price to spawn these walkers for one house, or if it's 40 houses in a very efficient block. Okay. So what are the values? The value is just 10 if it has just wine, and if it has access to meat or fish, it will go up to plus 15. And that's very versatile structure. It of course is a consideration, because any building or service that consumes resources is of course always going to be a bit harder to get, and you know, not something you would want to do necessarily on all maps, but there are very common maps where you would consider using it off, because just the map makers like to force you to get out of comfort zone with this and use even the sources that you might not normally get. Because normally if you have access to all the other entertainment like the arena and all the shows, why would you use the tavern then? Probably not because of many normal reasons. Normally you would just for like the tryhard approach, you would not use it because it's consuming goods, therefore it's worse for providing those services. So that's gonna about cut it for the entertainment explanations. I hope that you learned something from this video. Let me know if you want me to cover anything specific in the future, and thank you for watching. See you around. Bye.